This week on Not Just Another Sex Podcast.
When it gets into these quote-unquote bad choices, what are some other lessons you've had to learn? Like, I'm not going to say it was a bad idea, but being myself while being a mom is some of the funniest shit in the world. So when I was dating this couple, they came and spent the night. I'm being a positive poly parent and all this stuff. And my baby then went to daycare and was like, yeah, so they slept in my mommy bed and it was 3 of them and these the names. And the kids, they slept in my bed. And I'm just like, and so I picked my kid up from daycare and you know, the lady's like, so we heard that, you know, during sharing time after the weekend, this is, you know, I end up exchanging my business information with her off the bat. Like, hey, sugar. I feel like there are so many different things that I need to learn as an adult.
I'm this nasty on a regular day, like on a Tuesday. I am your host, Samia Burton, and don't worry, it's not just another sex podcast.
Hey, you guys. Welcome back to Not Just Another Sex Podcast. My name is Samia, and I am super excited, per usual, for today's episode. So we're going to get right into it. But before we introduce our guests, I want to spotlight a review that was given because we need that, more of that. This review says, big energy. I cannot wait to hear your podcast every week. You have some of the strongest energy ever. You are very empowering, and you give me a push each time I hear your show to always move forward and to know when we need to walk away. I'm waiting for the day you get to come on the show and tell us your first male-male threesome mix. I didn't read the review before I read the review. Experience, and I wish I could come on your show and tell you about how my first male-male threesome turned into 2 of the best friendships I have right now. Yes, for you. But anywho, keep being the beautiful soul that you are unapologetically. And hopefully by the next episode, you can say, pay homage the right way. Damn, I got faith in you. No shade. Can't wait for tomorrow. All right. Well, thank you very much for leaving that review. That was real. Thank you for showing love, saving time, and making space for me to share that. Y'all, please leave a review for the show. It does a lot. It makes me feel good. I'm going to try to read them before I put them on here next time. But otherwise, we're going to get into the show. So we have 2 amazing guests. And for the first time, they are on my show. I have been on their show twice, and it was amazing. This is GoodMoms Bad Choices, the hosts of GoodMoms Bad Choices, Erica and Milah. Say hey,
girl.
girl.
Hey.
Hi.
Congratulations, bitch.
Yeah.
It looks good on you.
You made it. Beyond made it. Look
We
at this.
here. Y'all done laid some groundwork, and so it's just, you know, now I know the levels that we have to do things. So I'm very excited to have you guys here.
Thank you for having us. Wait, can I just say something real quick? I just want to pay homage to
Absolutely.
you for spreading the message of the male, female, and empowering
Honest
the
to
people,
God.
because this is a fun fact, but Samia early on in our friendship empowered me to embrace the male, female, and laid out the most beautiful fantasy of what this experience would be. And I have been trying to make it happen ever since. Literally, like all my relationships that I've been in since I met you have known that this is a thing that must occur
We need
at some
to talk
point.
about
Same. Is this what you do to everybody? Whisper in the air like, you need a male, female. And then you're like, you know what? I fucking do. My friend said, I've been definitely like, trying to get, I've like over a year now, I've been trying to manifest this. So yeah, it's true. I think also she may have planted the seeds for our goddess experience.
True.
I think you know what, you're powerful in general. Obviously, we're sitting in your house on your podcast after so much success in, you know, the sex world, the sex education world. But yeah, I think early on you really empowered us to, like, I mean, obviously we're sex positive, but like perceive certain things differently. You know, you also convinced me that I needed to have pet play and I needed to be a very expensive cat and get a diamond collar and be pet. And I was like, you know what? I want to be pet like a cat. You're right. So you literally removed the veil. Like, these are the things that you need. You need male, females. You need to be cat play. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
You gonna make it difficult. Me ain't gonna be like, don't listen to her podcast. Don't listen to what you listen to. Turn that off.
Luckily, I have an open-minded man.
Look here. We trying to attract that. Okay, we are attracting that. Anyways, we have you guys on the show because you guys did something amazing outside of having a podcast for what, 5 years. 5 years. You guys, you know how hard it is to have a podcast for a year, okay? and bringing amazing content, amazing guests, and actually leveling up to the point that you guys now have your own recording studio in LA. You guys are doing sold out retreats all over the country, and now you guys have written a book.
All over the world.
All over the world. Get it together. Get me together. That's good. Talk it. All over the world, you guys are here because you have a book coming out, and it will be dropping. Fill in for me. Pick up for me here.
Okay, so the book is called A Good Mom's Guide to Making Bad Choices. Download the Audible. If you're listening to this and this is the type of experience that you enjoy, we have an Audible version as well where me and Milah are recounting the book via Audible. And it's been a labor of love, and I know you know what this feels like.
Yes, I do.
I know you know how incredibly challenging it is to write a book, especially when it's about yourself. You think it'd be easy.
That's when
But
it
it
gets the
ain't that
hardest.
fucking easy.
Not at all. Not at all. I remember you guys were writing the book and you're like, you know what, we're just going to go to Mexico and we're going to just disconnect and we're going to finish the book. And I was like, how was it? They were like, look,
We didn't write shit.
Look here, we didn't write anything. We had a
started
great
retreat.
time though.
It was Costa Rica, and we started a retreat. We started a whole other business out there by accident when we went there. It didn't write. I read a lot of diary entries that needed to be read in order for me to kind of go back to this place that I needed to be in to write some of the chapters in the book. But yeah, it's been a labor of fucking love. It's been very triggering to write this book. I've had to really check in with myself and realize there are certain parts of my healing that were not complete. And then there were just other parts where I was like, damn, bitch, you really did that, huh? You really did that? You about to tell everybody, huh? Yep, sure
tell the
am.
whole world.
That's the part now that it's coming out.
You've been telling your business online for years. Now you're about to get paid for it.
No,
You're
but
getting paid for it.
But it's different.
That's amazing.
Telling your business with your voice, and then you're like, it could get lost, and people are like, good luck if you find it. Like, I don't know, find it over hundreds of hours. But then when it's like in writing and someone could be like, go to page 36.
There's written proof.
I'm like, that's going to be pretty easy to find if someone wants to find it. So.
Well, I'm very excited. So we're going to get into this episode. So this episode today is about you guys, and I'm just so proud of you. And honestly, it's an unconventional May for this show. And so I'm very glad to have you amongst these guests. So we're going to get into it. Adult tip of the day. You're a better mom. Oh, well, let's start off with what it is. I'm so excited. All right, the adult tip of the day is where we give an adult tip of the day just a little bit, get a little bit better, a sound piece of advice, whether it's my therapist says or whatever. So today's adult tip of the day is you're a better mom when you have your own life. And my thought process around this was that you're going to traumatize your kids either way. There's something that's going to happen, and they're going to be like, well, I didn't like that you did this, and
absolutely.
this hurt me this way. And it may not be intentional, but all of us go through this thing where we're living the way that we're being brought up, and once you get older, you live your own life and decide, you know what, the way that my parents did it, this either does or doesn't work for me. They'll do their own. They'll go to therapy and figure out, well, what they did for me didn't work for me. And so if you're going to have to do that anyway, the best thing you could do is at least have your own life, have your own dreams, have your own goals, have your own social life. So that way the things that you're doing, they really are unintentional. You literally were trying your best. And I don't think that you're giving your child your best if you're not making time for you, because there is no way that you could be your best if you are not making time for you. There's no way that you can be your best if you're not.
I think you have to make bad choices in order to be a good mom. Honestly, like for real, like you have, and bad choices obviously is a play on words when it comes to our show. You know, bad choices could be smoking weed. You know, which for me is a great choice. But honestly, even the bad choices are important. You have to make the bad choices in order to learn, and your kids have to see you make bad choices too. Because I think that's kind of like the toxic motherhood like stereotype is when people think that you have to portray yourself as this perfect parent, and then your kid goes into the world and sees that ain't shit perfect, and they start dating, and they're like, no person is perfect, but my mother was perfect. And then, you know, these little boys turn into men and vice versa, and start judging their partners because their mothers portrayed this image of perfection that is not real. So I believe just live your life, bitch.
You have to live your life. And
the story is
your life, which is whatever that is. You can't cut off parts of yourself because you became like, yes, there's an adjustment period. Yeah, you know, and we're not talking about that or that. Yes, your life will change. I'm talking about making a moment for you. You know, so.
I mean, well, if you put yourself third or fourth, then you're teaching your kid ultimately it's okay to put yourself last. It's okay to pretend. It's okay to save face to, you know, like please other people. And ultimately, like that's not what we want our kids to do. We want them to show up as themselves, tell them that's enough. And so you have to honor yourself in the same way.
Absolutely.
Hey, you guys, it's your host, Samia. And for those of you who didn't know, I'm also the CEO and founder of Sexual Essentials. One of my favorite parts about building that brand was creating a learning platform that has over 250 workshops, interviews, and so much more. Some of my favorite components are the sex position demos. Yes, you heard that right. Demos. They're featuring some people that you may already know. GoodMoms Bad Choices has demonstrated some positions for us, as well as Dara. You remember her from our first episode. Those are some of my faves, as well as the lingam and yoni massages. These are great additions to add to your oral loving for your partner. Yes, I said oral loving. I'm trying to keep it clean, guys. Anyways, they are great additions and a great way to spice things up. Outside of our masterclasses, add one of these on to your normal routine and really wow your partner. Click the link below or in any of the links in our bio and sign up for our courses today. All right, now back to the show.
Well, thank y'all. We're going to move on to the next segment here, which is Twitter Talk. Twitter Talk is where we pay homage to Black Twitter. I know she done got me together, so I hope you could say it right. I started getting it right a few episodes ago. You ain't know. So anyways, Black Twitter has always been so amazing because it starts all the trends. It's where all the topics are, and anything that goes viral most likely started from Twitter, right? And so today's Twitter Talk is, as a woman, what makes you think that you have good pussy? Because I feel like it is called Not Just Another Sex Podcast, just a little bit. But I say that to say because we always know that unless you actually partake in pussy, you can't say what good pussy is. But you can, when it comes to your self-evaluation, what do you think makes you have good pussy? Or what makes, from a woman's perspective, from your perspective, what is a good deliverable on the pussy for you? What do you think that is?
Confidence.
Yeah.
I like that.
I would say confidence, embodying all the things that, you know, that you want to embody. I think taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, your health. You know, you ask men all the time, like, does all pussy feel the same? Mm-mm. And, you know, they say no, obviously.
They usually say yes.
They say
I've
no.
never met a man.
I have heard both, but I have heard that it's not like some drastic difference. Now, there are some pussies that, you know, have been through some things, or maybe just, you know, we just weren't blessed on the pussy spectrum this lifetime. Not to shame any pussies out here.
All pussies are good pussies.
All pussies
I don't
matter.
agree with that, but I don't, because I don't believe that all women take care of their pussies. Not all pussies are good pussies. There's some toxic ass pussies out there, figuratively, physically, and literally, spiritually, emotionally. But I do think it's a confidence thing. It's confidence, and really it's a reflection of how well you take care of yourself is really the reflection of your pussy, I feel like.
So I feel like having good pussy is having good energy and having peace. I feel like one of the biggest compliments you can receive when someone is deciding to be inside of you is that it feels like home or it feels like peace. And I say that...
I feel like niggas know that, too. They be saying that shit all the time.
I feel like a lot of women are cocky and think that they have good pussy.
I do.
About things that have nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, with you. And so, like, yeah, like, when it comes to how I fuck myself, I still believe, like, when I touch myself, am I getting peace or am I rushing myself through this orgasm? Like, was I peace to myself? Was I good energy to me? How did I make myself feel? And so the way that I make myself feel and the way that I touch me and the way I give myself, like, great energy, I feel like I'm much more conscious of that when I'm dealing with someone else. Am I being peace? Like, you know, I used to stay in things, like, so long unnecessarily, and it's like, is there peace here? And so now it's very easy to pick up and go quickly because either there's peace or there's not. And, like, my pussy gotta be a little piece on you. Otherwise, like,
you want a piece of this pussy?
You want a piece of this pussy?
You gotta be peaceful,
nigga. You want a piece of this peaceful pussy?
I do. I agree. Like, if you're a peaceful person, a peaceful woman, and you are in the search of constant like peace, then your pussy will absolutely reflect that. Like, you can't even come near me with that toxic dick, or those, you know what I mean? Like, I
pH
agree.
be all off. All right, so thank you for that. So we're gonna get right into it. So you guys met because it was difficult making mom friends. I want y'all to tell us what happened. One, because everybody may not have heard you guys, but also the book is coming out and we're going to pretty much walk through your story. And so there are a couple topics that I wanted to kind of pull that I've heard you guys talk about as a fan and as a friend. So how did you guys meet? And I want us to talk about the difficulties that moms have starting this new life and new friends, especially like if you're the first one in your friend group to start popping babies out.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I was the first one in my friend group. I thought I was grown at the time, but I think that I was pretty young. I was like 26. And I thought it was like the time to do that. And what was the question? How do we meet?
How do we meet?
Sorry, I'm a little high, y'all. And I saw Erica on Instagram because Instagram is where you find friends. Duh. And we had a mutual friend in common, and she was pregnant at the same time as me. But I saw her get engaged on Instagram, and I was like, I made all these assumptions. Like she's doing it the correct way. She's gonna be married. I'm gonna be like not married. She got a fat ass ring. He must be like an African prince. Like I had made up this whole fucking story in my head that was so far from the truth. And like, I was like struggling. I was young. My baby daddy wasn't doing enough, and I was not getting married, or was I engaged? I didn't even really know like if this is what I was supposed to be doing, but I knew him a long time, and I felt like I'm 26, I'm grown, I should do it. And like I had just, I was hot off the train from Atlanta. Like I had been living my high-end hoe life. Like I was like 20.
High-end hoe life.
I mean, that sounded bad, like not a high-end hoe, but I was just like, I was single.
No,
I was
the good
young.
part.
Yeah.
These were the good parts of being single.
Yeah, I was in my 20s.
No, don't explain. I
when
get that.
When I moved back, none of my friends expected like me, of all people, to have a kid. They're like, this wild bitch is having a kid before me. Like this was not in anyone's like vision for me, because they were like, she's wild, she's not going to settle down. And so, yeah, I was the first out of my friends, and I had no friends. So comes Erica on the internet.
I had a similar kind of experience. I found Milah. My friend had posted Jamila, and it's funny. We recently found the picture that I actually saw on Instagram the first time I saw Jamila, and it was her at this hotel day party with her, almost like I think maybe Luna was like 2 months old, on her hip, holding a glass of champagne in a string bikini, 6-pack in tow. And I was like, I was still pregnant at the time. People were asking me if I was having twins. I felt like a milk. I just felt like big. And I looked at this bitch and I was like, who the fuck is this hoe at the pool party with her new baby? I judged the fuck out of her, but also was like, where is she? Like, y'all know this girl and y'all been hiding her? Like, cause I too was the first of my friends to have children. So I made all these assumptions about her, but still wanted to meet her. And so I had reached out to my friend and was like, hey, who is this girl? Like, where is she? You know her? And she's like, oh yeah, that's Jamila. We're actually going out tonight. You should come meet up with us. And I was like, say less. So I dropped my daughter off to my mom, who was very much like, my daughter was that was when I was pregnant. Milah was posted again. Then I asked my friend. So then like, I asked my mom, will you watch my daughter? I think my daughter was like around 2 months. And she'd be like, where are you going? You're going to a bar? Your daughter's 2 months old. And I was like, yeah, I am. I got to go meet this friend. Pumped in the car in front of the bar because new mom life.
Titties be heavy.
I was
and
not,
it hurt
I was
if you
not
don't
about to be
pump.
leaking in my first outing out. I was not about to embarrass myself. And so I went in there with that intention. And, I always say that this moment was really God, because especially at that point in my life, like I was not the type of bitch to go and seek friends like that. Like I was not about to go to a bar from a girl I saw on Instagram to go make a friend, but I was really desperate at that time and felt really alone. So I went there, looked around. I think I had my first drink, saw a few friends that I hadn't seen in a while, and was like, where is she? Ended up going to the bathroom, saw Milah in the bathroom, and approached her, like I think probably aggressively as I do, and was like, hey, I'm Erica. I heard you have a kid. And she was like, I do. And like, I didn't know that she had already kind of knew who I was. And I asked her to have a play date, like I think that weekend. And she said yes. And thank God, if you know Milah, she's definitely like the friendliest girl you'll meet ever. She's the girl who makes friends in bathrooms for sure. And so, I think that weekend we made it happen. Milah put Luna in an Uber. I don't think if she even had a car seat. Just was like, I'm going to make my mommy friend too, because I didn't know that she was kind of in the same space as I was. And so, at that mommy date, it was kind of surface. We, checked in. How you doing? How's motherhood going? Oh, it's great. It's so good. How's your partnership? Oh, it is what it is, and I think we smoked a joint. So I was like, okay, so she smokes. That's cool. And then, maintaining friendships especially a new mom is really difficult. So I think a lot of time went on in between that first hangout where we didn't really see each other. And within that time period, my life kind of blew up in my face. Me and my partner ended up breaking up pretty aggressively, tragically. And I found myself a single mom. I was not planning on being a single mom at all. I was, like Milah said, engaged, planning my wedding to my rapper baby daddy, not African prince.
Clarification on that story there.
Although he would really love to hear that story. I'm sure he thinks he's a king. All black men are kings. So yeah, I had broken up with him, and after a lot of sorrow, I eventually joined Tinder. And I'd never been on a dating app ever, because I'd been in a relationship for so long. Dating apps seemed like super weird to me, but my friend forced me. Ended up meeting a married couple. So I'd always wanted to kind of explore this part of my sexuality. I didn't feel safe doing that with my partner at the time, because he was not to be trusted. And Milah happened to hear through the grapevine that I had this epic breakup, and unbeknownst to me, she had also ended things with her child's father. So we were kind of both in the same place at the same time. She invited me to her daughter's birthday party, and we hadn't seen each other in a long time. And I just couldn't wait to see her and just update her on my life, because I done
met this couple.
I had been kind of doing some spicy shit. Like I had reclaimed my sexuality, because during my pregnancy and after that, I had felt asexual, literally. I didn't even remember to have sex. I couldn't even remember to fuck myself. It was detached from my body. So I had kind of rediscovered myself. And I knew Milah was if there was one friend I could share this with, even though we didn't really know each other, I could just tell from that first picture I saw.
She gonna fuck with this.
I was like, I can tell her this shit, because I really hadn't even shared this with my friends, because as a mom, going to have threesomes and tucking my daughter in at night. And I talk about this in the book, about kind of the excitement and the shame that I had in this new discovery. I didn't want to share that with my non-mom friends. They would have been like, what the fuck is this bitch doing? So here I was at her daughter's birthday, and I was like, bitch, guess what? I'm single. She's like, I know. So what's going on? And I was like, I'm dating a married couple. She's like, oh shit. And then I was like, hey, so I've been listening to podcasts also. Want to start one?
And here we are.
And I was like, what? I was like, I don't even talk to this bitch like that. But I was like, I was pretty happy to hear that she was spicier than I thought from the first time. I'm like, oh, maybe we can really be friends.
She can't be a square.
And I was really single, and I was seeking. I was seeking a friendship. I knew she was someone who could understand what I was going through. The stigma of being a single black mom is such a heavy stigma that no one really talks about. It's when you have a baby as a black woman, your number one thing is I'm not going to be a baby mama. It's the number one thing on your list for some fucking reason. But because it's the stereotype around it is so heavy. So when she shared that story with me, I was like, okay, bitch. And when she asked me to do the podcast, honestly, I would have done anything the bitch asked me to do. You want to go to fucking Tennessee and on a train? Okay. So I said, yeah. I was like, are you going to tell the story about this couple? And she thought about it, and she was like, yeah, I guess. And I was like, all right, well, let's go. And literally, I remember calling my close friends then being like, hey, Erica, that girl, she wants me to do something cool with her. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah, I know. We don't know each other that well, but yeah, I'm doing cool stuff. Bye.
I think it's so amazing that, and not even amazing, but there's always that part of before you know another mom, it's either they're married or they're single. And the way that we categorize each other, and also the way that we end up in these situations. And so, like you said, you're like, well, I wasn't near marriage or any of that. And Erica's like, well, I was engaged and I thought this. And I was married when I had my child. And I say this all the time, I'm not a single mother. I'm a mother that's single. We absolutely do everything half and half. And it's the thing that binds us together. Not thing, but my baby that, binds us together. And it's just so crazy because people value your motherhood based on how you became a mother. And so I've heard men tell me that, well, you still hold value because a man married you before he gave you a child. And it's so uncomfortable because people don't understand that that man did not like me. And so to go through pregnancy and no one's talking to your stomach or no one's excited, and you know deep down that this is not, like, they're doing the right thing, which is as a man and your responsibilities. And I respect that to a certain level, but to go through that, it's scary, and there's almost a PTSD from wanting to have another child, because now it's like, what if something goes wrong again? Like, what if I have my child on different, what if I got 2 kids and I got them on different weeks? Like, you know what I mean? What if I get everything that I want and then my first child feels like, damn, you made the mistakes with me, huh? Like, this kid gets a 2-parent household. Like, you know, my mind goes down these paths, and it's like, I don't even feel entirely comfortable stepping into everything that I know that I deserve because the past, you know? And it's like, you can get past it, you go to therapy, you figure it out, and you know better than that. But
I find that, like, just to go back to what you just said, that really stuck with me and resonated with me regarding just the, I don't want to say performative nature of what marriage looks like to a man who wants to date you post marriage. So, like, because you were married, because you checked the boxes correctly, you got married, then you had the kid. It didn't work out, right? It didn't work out, but you did everything right, and now you have a child with a man that you were married to, versus where me and Milah did it different, you know, so that our value for some reason is lessened because we didn't check the boxes in the order that they were supposed to be checked, and therefore how we show up, I guess, to a man who's, you know, interested in us might be different. Like, that man will look at you as a more high value woman.
You see these, watch the visuals, y'all. Please look at these quotations.
Even though the storyline is the same.
But generally though, like, married, almost married, not married, but known someone for so long, is like the fact that we now have to take children, like, baggage into another dating situation is this whole thing. Like, for men, like, you know, I don't date moms, you know, I don't date, oh, you're someone's baby mama. Like, there's this idea that we're less worthy because I have a child now and someone else is not going to want to commit to me or make me a wife because somehow now I hold less value because I have this other person. And, like, men don't suffer. Like, that doesn't happen when men date. A guy doesn't go to a bar and fear to tell a bitch that, you know, I have a son or I have a daughter, because it doesn't even click to his mind, in his mind, that may devalue him in ways. So it's just this whole idea around just single women. And I really don't even know if that qualifies with, like, women outside, like white women, you know, like, do they feel the same way when they, like, I don't feel like they feel the same.
I don't rarely think about white women.
I feel like they do. I feel like the single mom stigma is much heavier on Black and brown women, for sure.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think that white single mothers probably have encountered the same insecurities as it comes to wanting to date and having a child out of wedlock or not even lock, you know.
And it's so crazy that you mentioned this, because in our book we have a chapter called post-traumatic baby daddy disorder. Like, literally, it's a thing. Like, it's true. Like, the imprints that relationship, like, leaves on you as a woman is, like, and even on a societal level, like, maybe you have a great, you know, child's father or whatever, but just, like, the impact that relationship leaves on you, just having to pick up the pieces after that, and just, like, the trauma of, like, if I have another kid, like, will this first kid be mad? Well, because I'm doing it better, because I've learned lessons, because I'm older. Well, you know, like, there's all these if, ands, or buts. Like, it's, like, almost like fuck the whole thing.
So when it gets into these quote unquote bad choices, I want to talk about 2 of them. So, like, from the perspective of getting pregnant, right? Some people will say, like, okay, this is a bad choice. I should have never had a kid with him, right? Then you got some people, it's like, well, we just really didn't know that this was going to go left. You know, that wasn't planned, whatever. I feel like mine was a bad decision. I feel like we knew that, you know, the love wasn't strong, the last thing. But at the end of the day, when you're married, try making it make sense to, why would we get an abortion and we're married? You know what I'm saying? Especially
because
when
you don't like each other.
But, of course, at this time, you don't think that the marriage isn't working. You're just like, oh, things are difficult, right? But when you get out of these relationships, generally we learn some lessons about what we did before and how to go about it differently and things like that. What are some other lessons you've had to learn, like through like dating as a single mother? Like, what are some like, okay, this probably wasn't the best idea, or like, for me, I'm not gonna say it was a bad idea, but being myself while being a mom is some of the funniest shit in the world. So when I was dating this couple, they came and spent the night at my home. They spent the weekend, and Trey was there. We let our kids meet each other, and I'm being a positive poly parent and all this stuff. And my baby then went to daycare and was like, yeah, so they slept in my mommy bed, and it was 3 of them, and these the names, and the kids, they slept in my bed. And I'm just like, and so I picked my kid up from daycare, and the lady's like, so we heard that, during sharing time after the weekend, I just want to let you know. And I was like, well, that means that he'll come to you if something's wrong. And she was just like, that's really, I ended up exchanging my business information with her off of that. Like, okay, like, because, this is who I am at the end of the day. And I honestly feel like being a poly parent has actually, if anything, benefited my ex more than not, because it's like, oh, you have like
support.
Oh yeah, like she's great, like good for you. Like I want my kid to be happy, be around like love at the end of the day, and also I want him to see like your dad can love someone properly, and I like the fact that he gets to see that. Mm-hmm. And if we had stayed together, he never would have saw that, which would have impacted how he loves and how he views it and things like that. So it kind of goes back to that adult tip of the day, which is live your life the way you truly need to, and then let's get you help where it really did bother you regardless, because he would have been traumatized either way. Right?
Creatives, podcasters, entrepreneurs, if you're looking for an amazing place to create consistent content, then you need to check out the Something Extraordinary Content House. Located in the heart of Atlanta, it's in a great location as well as only 15 minutes from the airport. So whether you're in town or not, maybe you need to get more serious about the content that you're creating. This is a great place to create something extraordinary because it's equipped with 5+ rooms with 2 kitchens, 2 living rooms, amazing energy, plus a host of vendors that are already the best in their field at creating content. So make sure that you check us out at semediagroup.co or check out some visuals and events and amazing things that we have going on over on Instagram at SE Content House. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon because we're going to get to creating some extraordinary content.
Mm-hmm. So,
you also got
a bad choice to.
There's definitely bad. Well, my daughter told some people at her school that her mommy doesn't like white people. So I don't know about that's dating, but that was for me the self-awareness of how I'm speaking in front of my child, and which is ironic because I'm white, and I got some white in me, even though I be running from that side. But I'm constantly reminded because hello colorism. But that was an interesting conversation because I really had to be like, what have I said to make her feel this way? And so I had to really, do some re-education here. And another bad choice. I introduced my daughter to someone that I probably didn't need to introduce her to, like a partner that I was dating that ended up not being nice to her, And so, and especially when you're dating as a single parent and it's a new space that you're navigating, and like you're trying, like I had never introduced her to someone. These are all firsts. So there were a lot of things that I was like, is this normal? Or like, maybe this is an adjustment period. And I think I allowed things to manifest in ways that I should have cut out quicker. But I was really trying to feel things out, like, or maybe this is a growing period, or maybe I'm triggered because I've never done this before, or maybe he doesn't know how to show up for, a daughter because he doesn't have, well, he does have kids, but he's not around kids often. So like, I was trying to make excuses and understanding and be flexible, but ultimately, when it came down to it, I should have protected her better in that situation, and I should have followed my intuition, which was, nigga, get the fuck out of here. And so that for me was a real big learning lesson for me, because that was my first relationship that I brought her around post being with her father. So that was a bad choice. And I think that a lot of women maybe can resonate with that when they're dating and they're in this new space. And, there is a level of like, you want acceptance. You want your partner to be happy. You want them to feel comfortable. in this space of like, I do come with this person. I do come with this little person, and this little person can be a little brat sometimes, you know, and like they're not going to cooperate how you want them to. And sometimes I'm like, shut up, like don't ruin it for us. You know, like I'm looking at her like, don't do that. You know? But ultimately, that was a lesson for me that is not my role. Is to always protect her first and foremost, and I know that. But I think that as women, we do, you know, when we're in relationships and we want to be chosen and we want to be loved, we will make excuses and we will bend our boundaries, even at the expense of our children sometimes.
I think for me, I've had almost not even almost a very opposite like situation, just because of my background with my parents. I don't trust anyone around my child. And so like if we're not on good terms, if I'm not sure, like it's so particular because but it also makes it so difficult and so heavy to be a parent and ask for help or get the help that I need when I'm only comfortable around certain people. So like certain babysitters, it's like I got to go to a different city to get someone who I trust to watch my child. And so I get in my own way at a certain point when it comes to dating because I don't like people to meet my children. I will say that people that have other children, like if the children are meeting, that makes me more comfortable, right? But outside of that, I don't date on the weeks I have my kid. Like I don't, and hell, I'm barely dating now, let alone, so it's not really a problem. But hopefully, the goal is to get back outside, but that's the part I'm not looking forward to, because also I'm noticing that at this age, after this birth control come out, if I ain't pregnant, then y'all can burn it, y'all can tie it, y'all can throw it over your shoulder, but I'm done. It ain't happening. So I'm also very aware that the next serious thing that I get into, it's time to have that conversation of, am I having another child or not? Mm-hmm. Are y'all having more kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how confident you said that. I want an answer for me. I do. But
I made an agreement.
Wait.
I made an agreement. So
It's a pre-contract?
Yeah, kind of. Not a pre-contract, but I know my boyfriend wants a kid, so
Fair.
I'm the carrier of the child.
That's how it just turned out that way.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I don't know. Okay. I could be convinced. I'm definitely not having a child for anybody. But I would have to really know that I'm okay being a single parent again.
I always wonder.
And I don't want to step into a relationship with that negativity, but it's just a real reality.
It's a reality
that I have to face, that if this doesn't work out, because life's that I'm going to be okay with that.
With two. And I think that's the thing that's honestly scaring the shit out of me. Like, I'm like,
that's scary.
I was married. Like, I you know what and I'm not saying that validates anything, but it's the one place that I'm supposed to be safe if we're adding more people to the party. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I'm like, is that speaking negativity or like, what is that? But it's a very realness that things could happen. It cannot work out for any number of reasons that, hell, like people pass. Like, are you really okay with two?
I mean, I could do it. I could do anything.
And
but
that's
do
the problem.
I want to do it?
That's the problem. I know I can do anything.
Yeah.
So trying to like silence everything around me to understand what it is that I really want. But I know that what I truly want is not, I've never wanted children. I've always wanted a family. And that can look a lot of different ways. And so I'm really exploring the way that family looks for me right now. My friends are my family. Like they come in and they turn up like that. And so I'm trying to envision what it's like having another like little one. But y'all kids so cute and they girls and get their nails done. I'm like,
But it's important too, I think, for women, like just like you said, like I was married and you're supposed to feel safe in that place. But I think like just in general, like think about like if shit happens, am I okay with just being a parent with one parent to a child? But also like you have to take it into consideration, like checking off shit off a box doesn't necessarily mean happy. Like you could get married, you could know someone for a long time, you could be engaged. That doesn't mean you're supposed to have a baby with a motherfucker. Like, are you guys friends? Do you guys have a real agreement? Like, you have to really be honest about like your relationship and how you connect and their maturity level, because a lot of times I think we ignore that shit when in hindsight we knew exactly who those people were. So it's like, am I being honest, or am I following this fantasy because people said I'm supposed to do it this way and that way, and this is and I'm just checking off the boxes, versus this is something I really genuinely want.
And I think that segues to the last question that I have for you guys about giving moms advice, because this can be current moms. You're not sure if you want to be a mom, or just one day listening, like, let me just put this in my back pocket. I do believe that for me, intentionally, I didn't know. I thought that this is what I wanted my life to look like. But the only way that I thought this is what I wanted my life to look like, married and this, and not, I wanted to be, I didn't want to be married. It was like, oh, I love you, so I'm okay with getting married. But ultimately it goes back to, I did not know what I wanted for myself. What are my boundaries and what are my self-care? So it has the next segment of my life has so much less to do with the other person. It's more about me getting so intimate with myself that I am very clear on what I like, what I don't like. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And being, so disciplined with that now it's steering me to what I'm attracted to and what I'm not. And it's looking more, And so I want to know, what are you guys' your biggest takeaways, tips, or advice to mothers before they embark on, like, what you wish you would have known or done before you had kids?
Listen to your own motherfucking intuition. Like, no, find your own voice and follow that. Like, make sure whatever route you're following is not the route of somebody else, of narrative of what they think you should do.
Read our book. Really, truly. I mean, this book is really, we often talk about it as, it's everything I wish I knew before motherhood. Like, the book is really not even just for women that have children. It's for women that are considering having kids. It's for women that are on the fence. It's for women that maybe don't even want to have kids, and this is the birth control they need. The book is not birth control, but it really is the real shit.
Yeah.
It's the real shit that what to expect when you're expecting doesn't fucking tell you. It's the real shit that all those, like, little baby apps that you have downloaded on your phone aren't going to fucking tell you.
You're the size of a peanut.
People
That's
raspberry.
sweet.
Apple today.
Look here, but your
raspberry.
asshole might split when you deliver this baby.
Yeah.
That
For
and
what?
it's like, and the things they don't tell you about, like, the kind of the terrorism that your children cause to your relationship. And really, if your relationship is weak before a kid, it's not gonna get no better with a child.
Absolutely.
And that relationships are work, and they're, the hope is obviously you walk in and it's easy, and that's the dream. And I think some people, that's their experience in relationships, and other people's, that's not always the experience. It doesn't mean that experience is bad, but I just feel like there's just a lot of hard conversations that I think need to be had with your partner before making that kind of choice. And, I talk about this too in the book of, like, a lot of times women, we see our partners in spaces with children and we start fantasizing and we think it's cute. And we think, oh my God, look at him. He's so good with his little nephew. He's so good with his niece. That is not his baby. He gets to put that baby down and go the fuck home. And that does not resonate. The two are not the same.
Yeah.
And we as women, I think it's really built inside of us. Like, we get this mind
We're
fuck.
visionaries, and you
I am
gotta learn
so
how to
guilty
control
of it.
that
I
shit.
done see
Yeah.
niggas I know ain't shit pick up a baby. Pick up a baby and like silence it and then play with it. And I'm like, oh my God, he'd be such a good dad. No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't.
So it's it's almost like going against yourself. You kind of got to go against yourself a little bit.
Your innate ovaries.
Innate ovaries and the hormones that are polluting your brain. And that can feel really confusing. But I think our book really lays out a really beautiful foundation on how to like navigate those feelings and come out with the answer that's best for you. And, like, to just piggy off what Milah said, is following your intuition and what you already know. But first you got to know yourself.
Absolutely.
So I think my tip is know yourself before you introduce another soul into this world. Really know yourself. Don't think that this soul is going to help complete you, figure it out. She will or he will. Kids, they do. They, as you know, when you become a parent,
they do a thing.
They do a thing.
That's
They
a
do a
love.
big thing.
That's a love.
And
that,
you think you know yourself, and then you have a child, and it's a whole rebranding
Whole
that
new
happens.
mirror.
But there is work that should be done beforehand. And just because you got married does not mean you need to have that man's baby. That's
and
it.
it doesn't mean that the work doesn't stop. On my list of what people should get a handle on before they have kids, I had self-care on there. boundaries and checking in with yourself. You can't do any of those things if you don't know how to check in with yourself, because you can be amazing at self-care now without a child, and you can be amazing at balancing and things like that. But again, you change. There's an adjustment period. There's postpartum. There's life, and so if you don't know how to check in with yourself to say, you know what, actually I'm feeling off, and being able to have something to compare it to, then it's going to be very difficult for you. And what is self-care before you have children may look different after you have children.
And self-care, because that's a word that gets thrown around so much on the internets, and it's not getting your nails done, honey. It's not going to the spa. Yes, those are elements of self-care, but it's deeper than that. So it's like spiritual maintenance, like checking, like what do you believe in? Like who is your God? What are your rituals? Like these things that you need to have in place before you are bringing another soul into. These are things I did not have in place.
Yeah.
I had none of these things in place. And I said, fuck it, and thank God I did, because now I have an amazing community with Good Moms Bad Choices. I met my best friend. I have an amazing daughter, and I wouldn't change a thing. But there are certain things now. It's like I know too much now. So that's why when you ask me if I'm gonna have another child, I'm like, bitch, I know too much.
Now I need to think about it. Yeah. And I think that so often aftercare is being confused for self-care. And it's not. Most times
we talked about that too.
Yeah, you're taking care of yourself afterwards and too late, and not knowing what you need to do beforehand before it gets too bad, and things like that.
Okay, this right here is some real mom shit, because if you're a mom, the bladder goes from 100 to 0 to 100 real quick.
There is no in between.
There is none.
You either don't have to go or you have to go.
That's why Kegels are very important, ladies.
Oh, I brought that shirt. Do your Kegels. Thank you later. First of all, that's a whole nother episode. What happens to your coochie after you have a baby? It ain't right. And the fact that you have to do exercise to put it back to normal is wild.
Well, now they have machines for that. Yeah,
Come again, say what?
Yeah, there's a brand that we partner with called Yarlap, and it's a Kegel. You just put it in there and it does the Kegels for you. You can just watch a movie.
First of all.
And it just does it for you.
But anyways, we're going to segue into our advice segment, which is a 13-year-old daughter asked for a vibrator. What does that conversation look like? Or what are your thoughts around introducing?
Give it to her.
Yeah, for
Amen.
sure. For sure.
That's why you guys are my friends.
It's birth control, and it's natural, and it's normal. And if I don't give it to you, you're going to go find one of these nasty, dirty-ass little boys and their dirty fingernails, and I just don't have time. I just pleasure is peace.
Look here.
And I encourage it.
I think that we should try to maybe not give her the super duper strong vibration. We don't need a broken clit by the age 18.
I've taught you guys. There's no broken pussy.
Okay, not broken pussy, but I do think you become desensitized. That's not a myth.
That's not the correct version either.
You can't become desensitized from.
You can develop preferences, but also the truth of reality, if we're going to get into it, is if you do something all the time, when you try something different, it's going to be different. Like if you eat American food all the time, if you go to Africa, you may say, I don't like this food, because you're not conditioned to like it, and you haven't properly giving yourself the patience to even enjoy it. You now have a preference.
Okay, I don't know. I mean,
it's technology masturbating.
I'm going to beg to differ. I know that you are the expert. However, I'm just going to say a personal experience. I'm a vibrating goddess, okay?
Yes.
And I love a strong vibration. And then I realized, like any other tool that wasn't as strong, like I wasn't experiencing pleasure.
Hey, you guys, it's your host, Samia. If you're enjoying the topics over here, honestly, I think you'd love the topics over on my learning platform. I have some private interviews over there with some amazing guests. I've interviewed Mr. Marcus, yes, that's the porn star, Passion Jones, who brought on her husband and her boyfriend, and even had some girls' night conversations with Medina from Cocktails, as well as Milah from GoodMoms Bad Choices. That conversation was amazing. We did some examples of our dirty talk, and let's just say you need to check it out. Don't just take my word for it. Make sure that you click the link below and sign up today. There are over 250 workshops, classes, interviews, and so much more. All right, now back to the show.
Mm-hmm. And then I started to try to touch myself without vibration, and it was like there was nothing there. Yeah. I might as well just went to bed. So I've recently, over the last few months, I've like, I'm retraining myself. I've stopped using toys, although I did have a relapse recently.
Not relapse.
I did relapse recently with the rose. But I had to like, I was scared. I was like, oh my God. And then I started noticing even in sex that I was enjoying it, but that it felt incomplete if I didn't have this sensation as well. And so I really had to fight against myself because, touching yourself without any sort of vibration or toy or whatever, felt really unpleasurable for a long time. And then I started playing with a crystal dildo.
Yeah.
And I can play with temperature, and that kind of like started to kind of increase my sensitivity again and get me back into that. I don't think it's broken because I know that the sensation can come back, but I really did feel like I became more numb over time using certain tools.
A lot of times people believe that because I'm having an orgasm, then everything is working properly. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people's body, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It does take 18 to 40 minutes for the blood flow to even get to the point to have an orgasm. The problem is that if you use a softer toy or whatever, you're not willing to actually sit there for 18 to 40 minutes. As soon as you touch yourself, you're looking for orgasm. And so you're automatically rushing yourself. You're not being kind to yourself. You're forcing your body to respond in a way that it's physically incapable of. And then because you pull out a toy that may be stronger, which there's nothing wrong with, it's not my preference either. But because you do it and it works, you invalidate the experience of how long it takes when you do something naturally. And so we don't give our bodies the grace that it deserves to move the way that it is designed to move. And that's okay. But I want people to understand that also when you're numb, sometimes it's the trauma because someone that you love can touch your arm and it can do everything for you. And so if you're touching yourself with your finger, it's because you're not aroused. What you want is an orgasm. And there's a difference. You want a release. I want to feel better in this moment, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I'm still so proud because the very first time that we met is because we did a class.
We did.
And we were talking about changing the temperature on dildos and giving your body space and time to test out different things. And it's okay if it doesn't end in orgasm, and it's okay if you grab something that you know for sure will end you in orgasm. But also, sex is not pleasurable generally, and you need the toy at the end because you're not actually having an orgasm with that person. And we don't want to acknowledge that. We're like, the sex is great. I don't know why I need the toy at the end. Because you want a nut. The sex was great, and you did not have a nut during that with that person, and so you need the toy so you can nut. But we don't know how to say that without invalidating the sexual experience with another person or any of those things. But long story short, absolutely give your child a toy to rub their coochie.
I will say, okay, you're right about the 18 to something minutes. That's probably 40 minutes, right? Like, that's probably true because we as women, when we're masturbating, are never trying to masturbate for 18 to 40 minutes.
Like, who has time?
I feel like this society, we have a lot of Pop-Tart pussy, and I say Pop-Tart pussy in the fact that, like, you want it quick. Everything is quick. Everything in society is quick. Our orgasms are quick. We want our food delivered quick. We want our Amazon packages delivered quick. Like, we want everything at our fingertips quickly, including our nut. Which is like, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad.
It's very sad.
But me going back into like pleasuring myself with my hands has really made me have to have more patience and to just talk about the kid and the 13-year-old kid who wants the vibrator. I co-sign for that because I think that I would rather not a little girl, but a young woman, I would rather a young girl explore her pleasure on her own than put that power into like a young boy's hands who has no regard for her, doesn't even understand his own pleasure. And I think that we need young girls to really have autonomy over their bodies and their pleasure at a young age.
Do we gift it to them or do we wait till they ask us? Are they gonna be like, Mom, I think I want this because we've had the conversation? Or can we be like, you got your period, I got you this?
I would gift it. I think once
I would prefer to gift it.
Once you notice that your daughter is into boys, I think is a good indicator that
that this is how this works. And also just reflecting back on your own self. I know, like, even with Gabrielle Union's book, and she talked about, like, rubbing the teddy bear and things like that. Sitting with self and saying, when did I really realize that my body evoked pleasure and things like that? And that starts at but also I bring up sex all the time. I literally remember his dad called me and was like, yo, can you tell me you've been talking about his body with him? He said, I started watching him. He was like, don't touch my penis. And he was like, yo, now he's half bathed because I don't know what to do because the boy said don't touch, but I start having those conversations from jump. So it's like, I want to make sure that I'm making windows for me to see what you're thinking. What I've even realized, like with my son, is that now he does touch, touch. I walk in the shower and like he's doing this, and I watch my face, you know what I'm saying, how I respond, because I don't want to shame him without thinking, just because I'm startled. And I'm like, hey, whenever you want to do that, just close the door so you can have some privacy, you remember? And he's like, okay. Like, so now we're talking about it regular, no problem, right?
I think parents forget, I think adults forget when these certain moments have happened in their life and how young they were. I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and they were like, and I was telling her, I was sharing something about my daughter, and they were like, already? And I was like, well, when was the first time like a boy showed you their penis? Yeah. And they were like, when I was like first grade. And I was like, exactly. Like how quickly we forget. Like, and I think as parents, we just hope. Like we just put our heads down, like, hope it's not there yet. And then when it's there, we're like, oh shit, it's here. Yeah. And it's like, actually, it's not this time. Yes, society is pushing sex, right? And our kids are overexposed to certain things. But I still think that there is a general normal timeline that's still happening. I think that parents just aren't prepared and are forgetful of like their own personal experiences.
I think it's also, there's a lot of, unfortunately, like there's a lot of fear and paranoia around, sex and sexuality and kids. And like I think we kind of remove it from the humanness of like the discovery of your body. Like it's a human who just got a new body and they're discovering sensations. Like that is to be expected. If someone's 8 or 9 and you've only had this body, you're learning new words, you're learning new pleasures. Like that's to be expected. And like little girls and boys, like these are
hide it for years.
These are a part of our like how we exist. And I just think that there's a lot, because people have been abused, people have been, like molested in childhood. There's so much fear around these type of things. You see, someone exploring, you're like, what happened? Did someone touch you? And, and I have been touched as a child and by like older kids or whatever. And even having these conversations with myself and asking myself, like, when is the first time I started to explore or wanting to hump or what that looked like? Because people also don't want to even like think about that as an adult. You like forget if it happened, like, oh, you were humping this person or whatever. Like you have to think about those things, because sometimes it was introduced too early to another kid, then introduced to you. But sometimes kids are just fucking curious and masturbating, and it happens to all different ages. And it's like you have to be able to approach it in a way where you're not like, making them uncomfortable. So then forever, you'll be 35 years old like me, barely masturbating, because there's some weirdness around masturbating and you don't even know the fuck why. It's just like, I think luckily we're in this era of new age parenting, and we're more self-aware. And I think people are afraid to do things differently than their parents did, but we are different parents. We are different moms. It's not the same shit. And like, it's okay to go in and make changes and edits to what didn't work for you as a child, and like not lie to your kid and introduce things differently, and normalize sex and masturbation. And because shit's eventually, guess what, guys? Our kids are going to have sex. Hopefully. Like, you don't want hopefully, like,
fucking on your kid.
weird ass, you
want your kids to have experience pleasure in all the ways.
You have to give them the information.
I definitely want to.
In their very adult life.
They're very
full-grown and mature adults.
Otherwise, they're gonna be grumpy as hell. I definitely want to. Anybody that's listening out here, there's always a different perspective to look at it. You can also just educate yourself so that way you're prepared for these conversations, and also. Even if it's not you, just is there another person in your child's life that you feel comfortable talking with them about these things, but do not deny them, ignore them, or act like they don't exist. And don't just give your child a vibrator, give them some education along with that, some confidence, some body positivity, something like that. And, make sure you're getting your, like, and we'll go back to self-care, but like therapy, accountability, like whatever you do to check in with yourself so that way you can answer those questions about what you went through and have somebody else to help you through this. You do not have to have all the answers yourself or know what to do, but the fact that you're even considering your child and their sexuality, like, pause, that's amazing of you. So thank you for that. And we're going to end the show with the spiritual tip of the day. Last time I was on you all's show, you guys start the show with a tarot pull, as well as when I went to you all's retreat, I was introduced to tarot cards, pulling one myself for the first time. And the spiritual tip of the day is to help people find their way into their spirituality and their witchiness and all these things that we think don't apply to us or don't understand, and just give them a bite-sized piece each time. And so usually it's about something educational, but this one is more so just pulling the cards just to make it full circle, because this is an episode to give you guys your flowers and just you guys have been a part of my journey as a woman, as a mother, and as a businesswoman. And so just anywhere where I can be intentional, you know, it just makes my nipples a little hard just to bring it full circle. So that's what we're going to do. This deck, actually, so the first time you guys pulled a card on the show, you guys pulled it. I was like, you guys pull it. I don't know how to do tarot. That's always the first thing that people say, right? I don't know how to do tarot. I don't pull tarot. And then at your retreat, one of the ladies was like, pull your card. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do it. And she's like, you don't know how to pull a card? I was like, all right, let me pull this goddamn card. And that card read me for filth again. And then, boom, here we are on this journey. And that card started with the Wheel of Fortune, which is like this necklace that I wear now.
Oh,
it was
wow.
the card that said, you know, you're embarking on new things and all of these things. And so I gave the power back to myself. And it's just, you know, it's really beautiful that you guys were just being y'all fucking selves. And it was like, look, bitch, you got to pull your tarot. You got to see what it's saying. And all these ways y'all be yourselves. And it's showed up and stayed in my life. So we're going to end the spiritual tip of the day with our cards. So we pulled them before because, you know, time. And it would have been crazy if we pulled some crazy ass shit. I need to be prepared. But we each pulled a card. No, we pulled 3 cards because it's 3 of us. We got the King of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands.
Oh, we got the King and Queen of Pentacles?
We got, look, baby, when I said weird,
I didn't see that.
what's going on here? I mean, we got
Coins.
studios dropping off. We got books that are being written, books that are being published. You guys were been published by Harper. Like, yo, it's so much going on right here. And I'm just, it's a lot of abundance and work that has been put in for like consistently. And you're sitting in it, you're doing it.
Thank you.
You too.
Take my flowers I give to you.
Thank
Sit
you.
in that. This
Okay,
is you,
okay.
and I love that for you. So we're just gonna read the quick excerpts, and then we're gonna, you know what I'm saying, get the fuck up out of here. Take a little drugs, a little, you know, whatever.
If this
You
bitch don't stop
don't call
calling
it
weed
drugs.
drugs. It's so funny because
She wants to sound edgy.
no, I think it's corny and it's so hilarious because I used to think that we were so bad, how we've been conditioned, and it's so crazy. It was the one thing that helped me with my anxiety. And so it's like, no, I'm definitely about to do it. I'm gonna fuck what y'all calling it. Like, I have to do this. And it's so, because I was always like, I can't.
You got to undo the
You
conditioning.
know? But now it's, this
You're
is
a drug
my
head.
funny, but yes.
You're
like,
a flower head.
It's so, that sounds pretty. I like that. But anyway, so King of Pentacles, the fruits of worldly ambition have brought financial success, a sense of abundance, stability, and security. The King of Pentacles is a fatherly figure that provides all those things and is also someone that is happy to share all that he has accumulated. And for anyone listening, that doesn't mean it necessarily has to be a man. It can show up in different ways. It could be yourself. It could be your circumstance or whatever.
Just the masculine.
Masculine,
The energy.
and the energy is masculine. So for Queen of Pentacles, a woman that is blessed with the gifts of sensual comforts and domestic talents, a motherly figure at times, she seeks to bring her loved ones joy through all things that are worldly by cooking, cleaning, and creating a wonderful home. And then for Ace of Wands, the suit of wands is always the first step in the act of creation. It is the burning fire of intention, desire, and passion that ignites the spark of an idea. Thus, this card represents the powerful forces of your will guiding your way like a torch into the world on a journey to make these desires come to reality.
Strong
So
soul, boo.
we some business bosses, bitches.
I almost feel like
It is
it's
sensual
like
as
I don't know
fuck,
how you
mamas.
guys pull these cards, but it almost feels like that needs to, like it's this order 1, 2, 3.
Well, this one fell out.
That's one fell
King
out
of
first.
Pelicans fell out.
This is what happened.
King of Pentacles, then Queen.
And Queen of Pentacles actually came out. This was Ace of Wands, then Queen of
Ace of
Pentacles.
Wands, okay.
And it's just so amazing because like King of Pentacles talking about being in your masculine energy
masculine.
and running shit, you know. And Ace of Wands, you know, we are creators and the things that we've built and brought to fruition and still keeping that softness about you as a mother,
There's a
as a
balance.
nurturing. And I love that for us. I love that for
I
us.
say.
So I need you guys to let everyone know. And y'all look, I didn't buy a hard copy of this book. I have the digital copy. Y'all can buy that on Kindle as well. And then I heard that they was recording these sultry voices. So as soon as I could buy the audiobook, I have all of them because I'm not afraid to fangirl out. Because guess what? This is how people get on the charts. These pre-orders, like we ask you politely, but really we're telling you that this is super important. Buy the pre-orders. This is how you support. This is how you instill that, you know, confidence, and you get that check beforehand. Like, hey, we have confidence they're going to run these books up. Even if you don't read the fucking book, they fine. Like, support.
Please
like,
read the
why
book,
not?
though.
You
Just
might
put it
write
on
a
your
book
coffee
and you
table.
go,
Damn,
I'm
like,
just
one day you'll
put
read it.
Like, come on now. Like, so support the book. But more than that, please tell them where they can find you. The book and whatever you want to leave us with.
Well, we'll give you the link to the book. I want to encourage everyone to buy Black. We have some really amazing Black retailers. We're actually partnering with a Black-owned bookstore that's giving away signed copies. So if you order from Malik's bookstore, you get a signed copy from us. But pick your poison. They'll all be there. Like Samia said, pre-orders really matter. We're manifesting a New York Times bestseller, so please help your girls achieve this goal. You can find us on all platforms at GoodMoms Bad Choices. We're doing a retreat. Samia gracefully gifted us with her presence at one of our retreats in Costa Rica and led a workshop, which was so amazing. I still am so happy and grateful that you came and did that. But we are doing another retreat. We're actually doing 2 retreats in July in Sayulita, Mexico, which is about an hour outside of Puerto Vallarta, if you're familiar with that area. Our retreats are really special. We take over the entire property, super private. It's all women. It's magical. It's all inclusive, delicious meals. All the rooms are oceanfront. It's really, if you're trying to find your tribe, and I know, just like, we shared our story, our conception story, it can be really hard to find friends.
Yeah.
And this is a place where you find friends. Like, you don't leave without a friend. Yeah. And the beauty of our retreats is that the friendships keep going. It's not like you end the retreat and that's it. These friendships keep going. And that's really what it's about. So we'll make sure we give you all that information.
Absolutely. Everything
for our retreat in July 2nd and July 12th.
And we're going on tour. So if you are in New York, DC, Philly, or LA or Houston, check us out. We'll be in Atlanta, of course. Check us out. Come see us. We'd love to connect with our community.
Beautiful. It's so crazy because my producer and I, Steph, she went to the retreat the week before me,
right.
And we was hanging out. I mean, we were just so free. It was a really amazing experience. They pushed me to do and tell a story that I had never told, and we shared that story, and now we are working on. It's just always y'all, always a part, and always part of the story, and and making me manifest and be exactly who I dare to be. And so I appreciate you guys. I love you guys for coming on. A little housekeeping, don't turn us off yet. If you were watching us on YouTube, first of all, get into the girls. The girls is looking the fuck good. Curls for the girls, all the things.
Titties for the girls.
Okay, y'all know that whenever Erica sees me, ever since I first interviewed and I told her, I said, I love titties, and you have some gorgeous titties. She wears them out every single time, and I don't know how.
I paid for them.
What a good friend.
They're beautiful.
I'm gonna get every dollar I can out of these.
Look here, okay? So buy the book because she did the
boobs
work.
are on the book.
The boobs are on the book.
The boobs are on the book.
That can be on your coffee table.
Absolutely, these boobs could be on your coffee table. Take that how you want it, all right? But also, if you're watching on your YouTube, why can I not talk today? If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment, show some love. Share the reels, make sure that you tell a friend, listen to the audio, and make sure that you please follow and support the SE Content House. We are actually shooting on the living room set today, and I'm super excited. Y'all graced it first. Y'all asses graced this set first.
I like to pop the cherries.
Look at that. Popping cherries and Pop-Tart pussy. All right, there we go. And so we're open, ready for business and booking, so make sure you check us out, SE Content House. And ironically, we actually have a Tulum side of this house. Hey. So if you can't make it to the retreat, you can make it to Mexico and Atlanta. So with that being said, make sure that you share, review, show some love. I love y'all so much. Catch up on the shows, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.